With a blowout win against the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder just showcased why they are the heavy favorite to not only win this series, but to comfortably win the NBA Finals. This was a game that started off kind of in Minnesota's favor, I would say. Minnesota was able to start off knocking down three-point shots. I think in the first quarter, they were 5 of 11 from three. On the other side, you had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not having the greatest start, 2 of 8 from the field. 5 of his 9 points coming in from the free throw line. And then in that second quarter, Julius Randle just decided to turn into a madman. 4 of 4 from the field, 14 points, 3 of 3 from 3. Absolutely just taking over the game in a stretch that Minnesota really needed. Anthony Edwards going down with the ankle tweak, still giving them 6 points in that quarter as well. But without Anthony Edwards being there and, the uncertainty around his injury at that time, that was a big lift from Minnesota. One thing that I will say, watching this game in the first half, it was evident to me what was going to happen. I was very curious to see if they were going to continue to be able to make the shots, but the way that OKC was guarding them early on, you saw the points in the paint discrepancy. OKC was getting everything that they wanted on the other side in the paint. I think they scored 22 points in the paint in the first half compared to Minnesota's 4 points. Minnesota was making threes, but it wasn't like they were shooting lights out 50%, 60% from three. It was pretty much the only shot that they could get. And early on, they were able to make enough. And I looked at halftime, and I'm asking myself, man, Minnesota is up 4, but this is a game so far where Shai and J-Dub are combined, 4 of 21. I think Shai was 2 of 13 at the half. J-Dub was 2 of 8. Yeah, 4 of 21 from the field. Their two best offensive players, and you only have a 4-point lead where Julius Randle was 5 of 6 from 3 with 20 points at the half. And you start to look at the trends in the game, and OKC is killing them in points in the paint. Minnesota Timberwolves, 0 fast break points. The Thunder are scoring off of turnovers. And it was just interesting, right? OKC doesn't have to have their best game. They don't have to have Shai carrying them. They have this luxury where their two best players, for example, I don't think that there's a game in this series where OKC will be up 4 at the half with Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards shooting 4 of 21. I just don't think that Minnesota has the ability to do that. And then you look at the half, one of the other things that stood out that I think is going to be a very, very big, vital, key thing for Minnesota in this series is the bench. I've credited Minnesota all year long because I love the fact that they have that strong trio of Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid. But in this game at the half, those three guys combined of 2 of 19 shooting for 6 points. And then they finish the game just as bad. These three guys are going to have to contribute if this team wants a chance at winning at all. I don't think they're going to be able to rely on themselves shooting 51 three-point shots. Clearly, that isn't the recipe. 15 of 51 at 29% is just not the recipe to beat OKC. It's just not. And it was evident in the third quarter where OKC outscored them 32-18, and Shai and J-Dub outscored themselves. They combined for 21 points in that third quarter, which outscores Minnesota's 18. And I think a lot of what was able to keep OKC in the game early with such a good start for Minnesota as far as shooting the ball and Julius Randle having a monster, second quarter and the struggles of J-Dub and Shai, they were able to stay alive because the three-point shots that you were missing, they're causing them to turn the ball over. Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards combined for 9 turnovers in this game. Julius Randle has some really, really bad turnovers. And a lot of these turnovers and these long three-point shots that you're missing, they turn into very convenient, easy buckets for the Thunder. And it allows them to stay within the game until they start to get their mojo. And then it's hard as hell to be able to guard Shai without fouling. We know that. I know the people that are rooting against the Thunder are always going to try to call out things, and I understand it, right? That's just what it is. Fouling in basketball is one of those things where your perspective depends on which side you're on. The offensive player side or the defensive player side. If you're guarding, you feel like you ain't never fouled nobody. If you're on offense, you feel like you get fouled every time you got the ball. That's just the nature of the game. But I'm not going to continue to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander foul merchant free throw disparity conversations every time the Thunder play. At this point in the season, we're in the Western Conference Finals. They're 3 wins away from the NBA Finals. we should start to assume what's going to happen. I had an OKC fan in my comments from the last series when Game 6 ended and we were headed into Game 7, and I said, hey, the Thunder need to be watching out for this, this, and that. And I said the Nuggets need to watch out for this and be prepared for this. And they need to be ready for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to try to get his fouls and to get to the free throw line. And the guy was in my comments like, man, you've always been against the conversation. I just don't think that this is right that you're saying that and blah, blah, blah. It just don't sound right. It goes to the narrative. Dog, every time I speak about Shai and the Thunder, I'm not going to have that conversation. It's a part of the game, and it's what he's showing us. It's a part of his game as one of the top scorers, if not the top scorer in the NBA. I can't remember one of the last time we've seen a guy lead the league in scoring or be one of the leading scorers in the NBA and not get to the free throw line. That's just a part of it. Joel Embiid manipulates fouls and whistles. Harden did it when he was scoring 34 and 36 a game. Jokic, Luka. That's just the game. And there's a long list of many others. But just the top scorers of them, that's what it is. You're going to get to the free throw line, and not only do you able to get easy buckets at the free throw line, it hostages your opponent. And we saw tonight, Jaden McDaniels fouled out in 23 minutes of play. So it's going to be a struggle. And you're going to have to be able to foul without guarding. Guys are going to be able, have to figure out what they want to do, who they want to live off of. This is a game where Alex Caruso didn't miss a three. Kenrich Williams came in and made 2 threes. So they beat you in a game where they didn't shoot 51 threes, OKC, but they made half of the 21 that they shot. More than half. 52% from 3, 50% from the field. Really, really good game from OKC. And a game that kind of, in a blink of an eye, turned it to a blowout. Like I said, Minnesota was playing them close. They had a 4-point lead in the half. That third quarter, coming out of halftime, really changed the tides of the game, and the rest was really history. Julius Randle giving you 20 points in the first half, and then coming into the third quarter, only taking 1 shot, was a little bit disappointing. But it speaks to the volumes of the defense. The defense swarms you. It's suffocating. They can get physical. Are some of the plays and the physicality, could it pass for fouls here and there? Absolutely. Another conversation. That's just playoff defense. Some plays are going to look like fouls. Some fouls are going to look like they shouldn't have been fouls. And some out of bounds plays are going to look like it was last touched by another person. And, that's just the nature of the game at this point. We are in the second to last round of the playoffs, y'all. I just think a lot more of our focus can go to other areas besides every single officiating decision. Ultimately speaking, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to have to find out a way to be able to score at the rim and not have to shoot 53s. There were so many times on this broadcast where Doris Burke was talking about how much of their shots were coming from 3. They took 62 shots so far. 44 have come from 3. Like, it was crazy. In the end, they shot 83 shots and 51 were 3-point shots. So it was a tough night for them. They had a little bit of a window. They had a little bit of a chance. Again, up 4 on the road in game 1 against a team that almost won 70 games, the best team in the NBA. You definitely played well enough, in that first half, but you kind of can't fall in love with the 3 and can't fall into the fool's goal, which is what I felt when I was watching this game. It was like, okay, they're making enough, but they're going to have to switch some things up, because I'm watching them take these shots, taking early shots, taking bad shots, in my opinion, and they result in long turnovers. And OKC is just able to get out in the fast break and get out in transition, which I think is one of the most dangerous areas of the game for them. And then for them to be able to have the defensive wherewithal to not allow you that same luxury tells it all. 12 fast break points to 0. 12 fast break points to 0. 31 points off turnovers to 10 points off turnovers. 54 points in the paint to 20 points in the paint. They literally said, hey, shoot those threes. If you can make enough to win, we'll tip our caps. Everything else, cut off. You're not scoring a fast break. They did get to the line a bit. 21 free throws for Minnesota. They missed 6 of them. But I felt like OKC was potent defensively. And again, that's ultimately what makes them the heavy favorite to comfortably go on in these last 2 rounds and hoist up the Larry O.B. They just do a really good job defensively, and they showed again that they don't have to rely on the performance of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He shot 10 of 27 with 37% from the field. It wasn't like a wowzers game for Shai, right? I respect that he still got his shots off. He did what his job is, continue to put pressure on the opponent, made timely shots, and he had some stretches in the game, especially when J-Mac got into his midi, Julius Randle can't guard him in that island like that. And same with J-Dub, taking shots. I think he had a good stretch in the third. Him and Shai, I thought Chet was really aggressive when he was down low. Had some really good offensive rebounds and some dunks. And then, the 1-3 Lu Dort hit was the one where it was like they already had a 12-point lead. He makes the one that just erupts the crowd. Again, Alex Caruso going perfect from three is just a cherry on top. Hartenstein gave them strong, solid minutes in the 19 minutes he played. They had a really good all-around game. But again, to be able to rely on the defensive side of the basketball the way that they can and the way that they do, and to be able to say, hey, we're going to our bench, and Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso are the ones that's coming off the bench causing havoc. It's a nightmare, man. It really is a nightmare. One of the other things I do want to say before I wrap up and get up out of here, I give credit, I give love, I show appreciation. I never use my platform or go out of my way to speak negatively on anybody or to disrespect anybody with their game or their craft, especially these professional guys that are making $50-30 million in a year. I've never played in the NBA. But with all that being said, watching this game was a little frustrating because Rudy has to give the Minnesota Timberwolves something. We're not asking him to be Domantas Sabonis, right? I'm not asking him to get in a short roll and be Magic Johnson. I know that that's a struggle of his. But at his size at 7'2", I don't think it's ever going to be acceptable for him and Mike Conley to have the same amount of rebounds. There's never any argument that makes me feel like that's like, okay. I don't care. I like there's nothing that I want to be said for him and Mike Conley to have the same amount of rebounds. Offensively, I don't know. He has to be one of the worst players in the NBA offensively, considering his size, considering his role, and considering the ways he can score and how simplified it is. Like nobody is asking Rudy to do anything but catch the ball and dunk how he got those 2 points, which I think Naz Reid gave him a little dump off and he dunked it. You know what I mean? Like that fast break play where somebody dumped it off to him and he ended up doing over the head. Like it's just bad, man. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. He can not only have success when it's against the Lakers who are saying we're not going to run a center. That can't be the only way he can be impactful. It can't be. It can't be. Yeah, and it's just, again, it's just frustrating. He's 7'2". He's not a lob threat. He doesn't have good hands. He doesn't have good touch. He's awkward all over the place. It's like his feet are too big for his body. He's clumsy. I don't know. But I just had to say that because there was a lot of possessions where I'm just like, what the fuck? And then you go and you're trying to find different things and impacts, and rebounding is supposed to be one of them. And he's got the same amount of rebounds as Mike Conley. So I'm expecting a really, really big bounce back game for Rudy. They pay him too much. They rely on him too much. And again, we praise him and give him all of the credit in the world for his defense. But he ain't do shit defensively tonight. So he got to give him some offensively. Those are my 2 cents. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, I am Pee Wee the Plug. We'll be locked in all playoffs long. Y'all will see me tomorrow for the Knicks versus Pacers Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals. I'll see y'all soon. I'm out. Peace.